Today's daf is daf Pei Beis. We are going to begin at the brand new perek. Mr. Hashem, this is the last perek of the Masechta Hamegarish es Ishtei. Let us begin. The Torah tells us that when it comes to a get, it has to be sefer krisus. It has to be a book which creates severance. If there is lacking in any aspect severance, so then it becomes complicated if the divorce is an effective divorce is not. Our Mishnah is a case which we're going to see soon could create a problem if the husband at the time of the Mesiras Haget formulates his wording in a certain aspect, then it can be a problem. The Mishnah says if somebody divorces his wife, and at the time that he gives the get, he says to her, that you are going to be permitted to everybody except for this individual. So now the question is, what is the halacha? So Rabbi Eliezer Matir, Rabbi Eliezer says that she is allowed to go and marry another person, except for that person. So even though he restricted her, so it's still considered an effective get. However, the Chachamim say that this get is going to be totally puzzle. And why? Because he restricted her to get married to somebody else. So Ketzad Yasa, so what should the husband do? According to the Chachamim, Mela, according to the Eliezer, so that's not a problem. She can get married to anybody else besides that person. According to the Chachamim, who said it's usher, what should the husband do? Yitlenu heimenu, v'yachzer v'yitnenu lo. He should take it from her and give it back to her, v'yimer and say to her now, Hareyat muteres l'chol adam, you are going to be permitted to everybody. Now, in general, usually, as the Rishonim explain, as long as the husband says Harei zegitech, that's okay. He doesn't have to say Hareyat muteres l'chol adam. But over here, since in the beginning he said Hareyat muteres l'chol adam el lufleini, so if he would say Harei zegitech, he wasn't mevatel his first words, his initial Hareyat muteres l'chol adam el lufleini. Now that he said Hareyat muteres l'chol adam, he's being mevatel what he said originally as saying a new thing. Now, this is all if the husband said it verbally without writing in the get. So he said Hareyat muteres l'chol adam el lufleini. So you have a machlekes between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim if it works or not. However, if the husband wrote it actually in the get, even if he went ahead and afterwards erased it, puzzle, it's according to the Chacham. It's puzzle. And this is, like the Ritva explains, this is Ladas Chachamim, but according to Rabbi Eliezer, there's no chesaron, even if the get had, as we said before, there's no chesaron if the get is written El Lefleini, so even if you went ahead and erased it, it would be not a problem according to Rabbi Eliezer. Now, the Mishnah said, and the guy said, so what does El Lefleini mean? Ibaylu asked the Shaila, Hi Ella, this Ella that the Mishnah says doesn't mean chutzu, doesn't mean except for this person. So you are going to be permitted to everybody except this person. And that's the machlekes between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim. Or does it mean oyal minas? Or does it mean on condition? Now, there's going to be a big nafkamina if I say it's either Ella means chutz or al manas. If I say Ella means chutz, so it comes out that you're saying that the get will be effective except for this person. So l'poel, it's not considered a good get at all, because you were manbel the get to say you're mutter to everybody except that person. But if you say al manas every tanai, you have to just fulfill the tanai in order for it to be chal. So which means that the Gittin is really chal, nor but then you have a study, you have another shaila, you have a study, like they say, a side problem, you have to be kind of over them. It just comes out that the get will be megal mafreya that she's still an ashes ish. That's the study as shaila. So now, again, hi Ella, this Ella doesn't mean chutzu oy amenasu. Now, do I say that Ella means chutzu, then it means besides chutz, besides this person, so then it will come out, ubechutz hu the pligi Rabbanan led Rabbi Eliezer. It comes out that the Chachamim and Rabbi Eliezer are arguing when I say chutz, except for this person. Now, the Hashir Shire lo beget, because the fact is that he left over part of the get. He wasn't minatik and ganzet from the woman. Aval, but in the case of Almanas, made delay. So the Chacham will agree with Rabbi Eliezer that about kol tanai dama. It's like every single tanai. That's only a side thing. What do I say that Ella means Almanas, means on condition. Almanas, who the Paul Rabbi Eliezer ad Rabbanan. And Almanas, the Rabbi Eliezer, the Chacham are arguing that Rabbi Eliezer holds Almanas is not a problem. Chachamim hold it as a problem. Aval bad b'chutz, but in the case when he said chutz, made that even Rabbi Eliezer will agree to the Chachamim the shaila beget, because the fact is the husband was meshayir part of the pulas aget, because he says you're mutter to everybody except for one person. So now basically the question is, what does chutz mean? Does chutz mean ella or does it mean Almanas? So what Ravina says, I'll bring a raya from the Mishnah in Negoim that the word chutz, that the word elo means chutz. Why? Because Tashma, we learned in the Mishnah, kol abot v'tam Negoim, all houses are roi to be metame by tzaras elo shalei dichavim, except of goyish ones. Now, what does that mean? So if you say that elo means chutz shapper, so the Mishnah makes a lot of sense. You're saying that all houses are metame except for dichavim. But if you say that means elo, means almanas, means on condition. So what do you say? Almanas le mitame but edichavim who if you say that almanas, so that elo means almanas. So what are you saying? Almanas the le mitame but edichavim who the mitame but yisol. Are you saying that only if the goyish houses don't become tummy, then the Yiddish houses are tummy? And ho mitame but edichavim le mitame but yisol. But if the goyish houses are tummy, then the Yiddish houses are not tummy. It doesn't make any sense to say that. Then even furthermore, bati of the kachavim mitame, to the goyish houses now become tummy with tumas negoyim. But Tanya, we learned in a brayse, says the Teda says in regards to nige botim, and osati negat tzaras beveis eretz achuzaschem. What does it mean? I'm going to place the negat tzaras beveis in the house of your land of achuzaschem. Means eretz achuzaschem mitame v'negoyim. That only if it's a house of a yid in Eretz Yisrael, then it can be mitame b'negoyim. But if they become mitame b'negoyim, but goyish houses are not mitame b'negoyim. So you can't say elo means almanas, because A, it makes no sense to say that. It's dependent on the goyish house. Number two, the Torah clearly says dafka only Yiddish house. Elo shvami. No, you must mean to say, rather, this is a proof that what does elo means chutzu. So therefore, when we say kol abotim mitame, it means except for goyish houses. And in our Mishnah, when we said elo pleni means chutz mi pleni, except for this person. So the Gemara says, Shmami no, you could bring a raya taka from this Mishnah. So the Gemara now, the conclusion is like the first Sada Savik, that elo means chutz. So the Chachamim and the Rabbi Eliezer are arguing. The Chachamim say you can't marry this woman only when the husband says chutz pleni or elo pleni. But if he says harim teres l'chol adam almanas, so it'll come out that it's not a problem based on the maskana of the Gemara. Now the Gemara says, "My sister like Tana." Our Mishnah will be like this Tana, the Tanya. Rabbi S Greenwald, he says, "The next Rabbi Eliezer al hamigash ishtiv amar lo harim teres l'chol adam chutz pleni." Shenem megureshes, that there's no machlekes between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim. If a person says hariyat from teres l'chol adam chutz pleni, shenem megureshes, aman echel. What are they arguing? Al hamigarish ishtiv amar lo. When you divorce a wife, you say hariyat from teres l'chol adam almanas shalei tinasel pleni. If you say, behold, you are mutter to everybody on condition that Rabbi Eliezer matter. Rabbi Eliezer holds that it is permitted. Rabbi Eliezer permits her to marry any man except for that man, who she made the condition. So we see that based on this way of learning, it will come out that they're arguing in the case of almanas, but we just explained that there's no machlekes in almanas. My time at Rabbi Eliezer. What is the reason why Rabbi Eliezer holds in this case it's not a problem? You need to have something which makes this monotic, something which is severance. So how can he say that here is not a problem? So he says, my time at Rabbi Eliezer means about kol tanai da'alma. It's like every single tanai that a person makes, that every Tanai in a get is kosher. But Rabbanan are going to hold kol Tanai da'amalei shayir lebeget. Every Tanai, every normal Tanai, the husband's not being mishayir, is not holding something back in the get. Hacha, but over here, the fact is, he's being meinea her to marry somebody else because of the Tanai. So it comes out that shayir lebeget, he's being mishayir the kecha get, and the pale, he's not being mat to the woman to marry anybody she wants. Now, umasnis in our Mishnah, the Kimno that established the machlekes bechutz. Our Mishnah says bechutz. My time of Rabbi Elazar. So Taka, what is the reason of Rabbi Elazar? Rabbi Yana Mishum Zaken Echad. The pasuk says in regards to a husband who divorces his wife, that she goes and leaves his house and goes to another man, which is mashma. Even if he was only matter to go to one man, she is divorced. So we see that a get works even if he was not matter to all people. But Rabbanan, the Gemara says Rabbanan, who argue the Chachamim, Ha'ish, they hold that this word ish is the whole ish, which means every single person. And these words of Amri, the time of the Rabbi Elazar, who doesn't make sense, the Maseres Shas takes it out. Fine. Right. The Gemara now brings another way to explain the machlekes between Rabbi Elazar and the Chacham. Rabbi Yechon says like this: time of the Rabbi Elazar and Mahacha. The reason of Rabbi Elazar is from this pasuk. It says in regards to Isurei Kainim, v'isha grusha mishalei kachu. It says that a kain cannot take a divorced woman. Now the word isha teaches I feel that is gasha elam isha, even if she was only divorced from this man, and he just divorced her, it didn't matter to anybody else. Nifsalam and Kona should be possible from Kona. We see from here that even if he was not matter to everybody in the world, have a get that's considered a get. So we see, and when the Mishnah says the get works. The Gemara says, the Chacham, we're going to tell you, no, Isur Kohuna Shani, that we're more machmer, there's a special chumrah by Kohuna, and you cannot learn out that the Teda considered like a Gerusha when you're not matter b'chol b'nei adam. So now the Gemara says, Boyi, Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba asks the Shaila, B'kiddushin heich. What's the din by Kiddushin when the husband was Meshayir? In other words, he said, he said, behold, you're going to be Mekudeshes, you're going to be usher to everybody except for this person. So the question is, is it a good Kiddushin or not? Tiboy l'Rabbi Eliezer and Tiboy l'Rabbanan. This Shaila side goes according to Rabbi Eliezer, who holds such a get shashir is kosher, and according to the Chachamim, also the question arises. Now, Tiboy l'Rabbi Eliezer, the question will be according to Rabbi Eliezer. Why? Because Ad Kam like Rabbi Eliezer Hacha. And maybe Rabbi Eliezer said over here that the get works in Mishum D'Ksivi Kroi, because the pasuk clearly says Lish Acher Egrusha Meisha, like we said before, the two ways to learn. Abba Hasma, in regards to Kiddushin, which there's no mucker in the Teda that sheer works, maybe Rabbi Eliezer will agree that the Kiddushin is possible. Why? Because Kinyan Ma'alya Ba'ina, we need to have a Kinyan Gomer, and there isn't. Or maybe that Gabi Kiddushin, Rabbi Eliezer holds that it's kosher even if you're Meshayir. Why? Because the Teda equates Kiddushin to Gershon v'yotza v'esa. So just like Yitzia, Teda's matter even if you're Meshayir some of the get. L'chein so too, but the Kiddushin it should work. So if you were Mekadosh Chutz Mipleni, the Kiddushin should be Chal, and it should work. And then the Gemara says, Tiboy, the question also is, the Rabbanan also according to the Rabbanan. Ad can they come to Rabbanan also only by the get, maybe by the case of the get Shashir, but it's possible Ela de Binon, because we need, like the Torah says, Krisos, say for Krisos, Veleka, and you don't have it here. You're still, the husband's still connected to her. Abu Hassan, in regards to Kiddushin, that King Koldu, you only need to have only a regular Kiddushin to be Chal. Maybe it works, Dilma, or maybe no. V'yatsa v'heisa, just like the Gershon Shashir by his apostle, so too by Kiddushin. Now, Labasi by Lulu Hadar Pashta, after they had the suffix, Rabada Paskin, it said, Bein Rabbi Eliezer, Bein Rabbanan, meaning you need to have the same din of Kiddushin as Gershon, V'yatsa v'heisa, and therefore, according to Rabbi Eliezer, just like Kiddushin Shashir, Gershon Shashir works, so to Kiddushin will work, the Chachamim will hold that it is Einei Cholim. Tzad Chal. Now, from the Maskana Rabbi Abba comes out that there's a Avshadis, according to Rabbi Eliezer, that a woman who's Mukadeshes La'adam, and she's still mutter to somebody else. And that will be a case, like we said, that when the first guy was Mukadesher says Chutz Mipleni, so now the Gemara says an interesting case. Amar Abaya says, even if you want to say that Rabbi Abba is correct, So the question is like this, not a question, but Rabbi Eliezer will agree that Ba Reuven Miketcha, if Reuven was Mekadesh, a certain woman, and said that you are Mekudeshes, in other words, you're usher to everybody except Chutz Mishimon, except Shimon, my brother, and Uba Shimon, and then Shimon came V'kitcha Chutz Reuven, and it was Mekadesh, because he was not usher to her, so he was Mekadesh, her, and said, you're usher to everybody except for Reuven. Well, Meisher Shneim, and both of them died. So the halacha is, Misya Bemes Levi, she could be do Yibum to Levi, the third brother. We don't see the halachas of the halacha of Eishes Shnei Mesim. This is when two brothers died, so there's no inyan of the girl getting doing Yibum to the third brother. My time, what's the reason why over here I don't see the din of Eishes Shnei Mesim? Because he says that Kiddusha Reuven Hani, the Kiddusha of Reuven helps over here, and Kiddusha Shimon Le'ani, and the Kiddusha of Shimon didn't do anything. Because before Shimon was Mekadesher, she was already usher to everybody except for Reuven. So it comes out that when Shimon was Mekadesher, except from Reuven, he didn't ask her to anything that Reuven didn't do already. And so therefore, the Kedushin of Shimon really didn't do anything. So it comes out that she's does Yibum Mikeach of Levi, and that's why she's mutter to do Yibum. So with this case, what would be considered Eish Shnei Mason? Where it says, that Reuven came as Mekadesh her except for Shimon. And then Shimon came as Mekadesh Stamazeh. So the Kedusha Reuven the Misra Lama. The Kedusha of Reuven will help her to be asked to everybody else except for Shimon. And the Kedusha Shimon the Misra Reuven, and the Kedusha of Shimon will help to ask her to Reuven. And since the Kedusha helps on both, it's considered Eish Shnei Mason, and she cannot be do Yibum. Boy, Abai asked Omar Lo, if he tells his wife after he gave the get, you were mutter to everybody except for Reuven and Shimon. And then he said, Reuven v'Shimon. You're also mutter to Reuven and Shimon. So now what's the din? Do we say that this that he answered the husband in the first Amida, in other words, Reuven and Shimon, now he's matter them as well? That he means to say, in the beginning I wasn't matter, now I am matter Shimon and Reuven. This that I already asked her, now I'm being shari, and I'm saying that Reuven and Shimon is mutter. However, shari, whenever I said his mutter, now it's usher. He's changing around the words. So now the Gemara says, even if you want to say that what? Mada usher shari, that we're going to say the first with that whatever he asked is shari. So now the question is, what if he says, how do you have from tennis by Reuven Mao? Do I say that Reuven more than the Shimon means Reuven and Shimon? I the Gomer the Reuven, and this that he says Reuven is Mishum the Pasach Bay. Because since he mentioned Reuven first, but he meant Reuven and Shimon, or do I say no, Dafka means Reuven Dafka? The Intim Sleiman, and even if you're going to say that Reuven Dafka means Dafka Reuven, so now the question is, if he was Meshayah Reuven and Shimon, and then he said, Tennis to Shimon, Mao, what's the halacha? Do I say the Shimon who had in the Reuven, he means both? I come Shimon, and the reason why he mentioned only Shimon is Mishum the Salat Minay, is because that was the last topic he spoke about. Or do I say that Shimon Dafka means Dafka Shimon? Now, boy, Ravashi inquired, when you say Shimon, means Shimon and not Reuven, the question is, what if you say Hariyat after the Shimon? Now, what's the halacha? After Reuven Kavi, doesn't mean going on Reuven as well. And he means Hariyat Teres Ben Reuven Ben the Shimon. What do we say? After Amakoi, that it's going to the whole world and not only a Reuven, and he's basically saying Hariyat Teres Ben Nesef Mashitarti Iskatchila means also the Shimon. So the Gemara take we go Lefumna.